Soundstripe.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose.
Welcome back to the XandOSports Show. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley. I've had the opportunity to do a lot of great things, and I want to give you a quick update. My first season for track has come to an end. I had 4 athletes to actually head into the regionals. I felt pretty good about the season, and all the sprinters got faster on my roster. So I had the opportunity to actually go in and kind of break them down from scratch, see who runs what in the first meet all the way down to the end. I think every sprinter I had pretty much got faster because the majority of them are freshmen, so that was a good thing for me. So we have a very bright future for my future track team. Speaking of the future, it's very bright for the NFL and the NBA. And let's get right into the NFL. I've been watching the NFL pretty closely. I haven't had a chance to do a video because, when you coach, sometimes you got to lock in and you got to just focus on one thing at a time. So that's why I've been a little bit away. But, I post every now and then on my Instagram of what I'm doing. But not as often, because when I coach, I try to lock in for the kids. Like I said, but there were 2 juggernaut deals signed for the NFL, and I know you've been following it, so I just want to brush over it. There were Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. First of all, I'm a fan of both. I remember when Jalen Hurts was at Alabama, and I didn't think it was that good. I didn't. I watched him play, and I'm like, okay, his freshman year, I was like, he's big, he's strong, he's okay. And then he kind of got, I ain't say exposed, but it was like, it showed that the scheme he was in was really not that good for him. So he ended up going to Oklahoma, and that's when I really got to see what he was capable of. And I'm kind of glad the Alabama thing did happen because I think it was one of those humbling experiences. And the fact that he beat the guys out at Oklahoma and still turned around to be a second-round pick. But Jalen Hurts signed a monster deal after he beat out, of course, Carson Wentz and took us to the Super Bowl. We didn't win it, but, maybe we'll get one before his years are up. So he has a 5-year deal, $255 million. First of all, can a brother get $1? That's a whole lot of money over 5 years. And I remember talking about contracts when Patrick Mahomes signed his a couple years ago, and I didn't like that he signed a 12-year deal. Because the fact that if he does 12 years, they lock him in. It's a lot of guaranteed money, but the way the market is going, it's still going up. I don't see it going down anytime soon. So I feel like Patrick, even though he got a long-term deal with them for 12 years, I feel like he left some money on the table, but Patrick is a very marketable guy. Whatever money he did leave on contract-wise, he'd make an endorsement. So it's really nothing wrong with it, but I just feel like the guys now, since he signed that contract, there have been several guys that's paid more than him, and he's still, technically, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the NFL. Hey, my guy's Jalen Hurts, but he's not there yet. He's not doing what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Like, Patrick Mahomes is putting fear in everybody's hearts when he plays against them. Like, Jalen Hurts, hey, he's going to be an athlete. He's going to play well, but he's got a little ways before he get to Patrick. But back to his deal, he had $23 million on the signing bonus. $23 million. So as soon as he signed that deal, he got $23 million deposited in that account. And $179,399,000, which is guaranteed. So somehow, if he has a weird accident, he still get $179 million. Now, why is it important? Because before in the NFL, when we had deals, you wouldn't get a lot of guaranteed money. So I think Michael Vick signed a 10-year, $100 million deal years ago, and I think only $30 million of it was guaranteed. This is off the top of the head. You can look it up and fact check it. But I remember couple years ago, somebody else signed a $100 million deal. I think it was Drew Brees. Maybe 55 to 60 million was guaranteed. And I noticed that we're getting closer and closer to guaranteed money, but contracts were nowhere near as big as they are now. I remember when Drew Brees, Cam Newton, those guys signed for $100 million. I'm like, whoo, $25 million a year. Whoo, that's a lot of money. Now, Jalen is going to average, after like the sign bonuses for each year, the roster bonus, all that stuff, and his salary, he's going to be around $51 million a year. One thing I do love about his contract is there's a no trade clause. Only how he can be traded is if he waives the clause. And so he can waive the clause, and I like the fact that the organization is not in control whether he's traded or not. That's why I do like, if you take care of business, business will take care of you. I feel like he did enough to show us that he is the future, because everybody had their doubts about him. When he first got there, I was like, I don't know, because I was already over Carson Wentz. And the fact that I wanted to see what he can do. We had a small sample size, got another coach. It was pretty much a heavy run offense that first year he was there. So he kind of got built out. But this year I feel like he got to the point he showed that he can play. Now, I don't have a problem with him signing a contract that big, because Jimmy G got paid and he only played like 8 games. And I feel like he's way better than Jimmy G. No offense to Jimmy G. So, like I said, he has that no wave cost organization. I like that 5-year deal better than the 12-year deal that Patrick Mahomes we were just speaking of. Because if he signs, this is for $255, by the time his 5 years is up, and let's say he wins one Super Bowl and go to the playoffs 4 times, I think he can sign for $300 million. And so that would probably eclipse the total deal for Patrick Mahomes over 10 years instead of 12 years. Now, Patrick Mahomes may get another Super Bowl, and he might have to restructure that 12-year deal. They may give him another one. But, it's neither here or there. Patrick Mahomes still making a lot of money. The second guy next up is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson signed a 5-year, $260 million deal. His sign-in bonus is $72,500,000. Why do I love this deal? Because I have been making videos about Lamar Jackson, and I said why he was not elite. It had nothing to do with him. It was mostly play calling and the weapons they was putting around him. He showed me in college that he can play. So the fact that now it's like, everybody's like, I know people had like their reservations. Oh, can he be durable? Can he do this? Before this contract stuff, he really didn't get banged up like that. And I really felt like if he would have like been on the contract, he definitely would have played through some of those injuries. Let's be real. But he has his signing bonus is $72,500,000, $185 million guaranteed, and he's gonna have an average of $52 million a year. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a very risky deal. It has nothing to do with his behalf. It's just how long he took to get it done. So he did it perfectly. He waited to be the last person to sign the deal. And most times you're the last person to sign out of all the quarterbacks, you get the most money or the most guaranteed money, whether it's like $200,000 or $2 million. So, it was real risky, but he did get it signed. I'm glad he did. I think he didn't have an agent. I think his mom was representing him, which is, very good. The fact that she was never been an agent, but she was able to accomplish that deal. Shout out to her. I really thought it was a real risky move, but hey, she rolled the dice and she did it. She did it. I don't think no one will have the reservations now over Jalen Hurts' contract more than he will Lamar Jackson. Like I said, Jalen Hurts, I feel like he deserved it because he was a second-round pick, and now, in my opinion, he's a top 10 quarterback. Not just in the NFC. The NFC. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He still got some work to do. I love the direction he's going in. But some critics are heavy on Lamar Jackson. They had questions, like I said, can he still carry the team? And I felt like he can. Just the fact that they can't keep calling that triple option stuff. Like, this is not Georgia Tech. You shouldn't have 3 tight ends with a dynamic player like that. If you're going to call like the option, read stuff here and there, cool, just keep people honest, great. But I don't like him, that being your primary play. No, I don't. Is he durable? I think he is. I think that Lamar is very explosive. So the knee injury he had last year, I think he could have played with it, but he's not going to be as explosive as he normally do. So I can see why he can be cautious. And he wasn't under contract. If he gets out and tear an ACL, he's damaged goods. And they weren't going to sign him. So is he committed? Absolutely. After $260 million, he's definitely going to be committed. So my personal opinion, what were you going to do? What were you really going to do? Start over? You're just going to get another quarterback for the NFL draft? No quarterback in that draft is going to fit the offense that the Ravens run. Nobody. Maybe the kid from Florida, but I got my reservations about him too. But, that's neither here or there. And so I still think he's a top 10 quarterback with the weapons that they got around him. He got Odell Beckham and a couple other guys. Of course, he got his favorite tight end. Like I said, but they better stop calling those option plays and let him cook. Let him cook. I watched him at Louisville, and he didn't scramble out of the pocket all the time to get the yardage he got. They called run plays for him to get 1,600 yards rushing. But he still threw for 3,300 yards. So he almost hit, about 5,000. I ain't doing the math right in my head, but 5,000 yards total. So, like I said, I think he's fine. I think he's going to do well. He has a whole lot of athleticism. And once again, congratulations to him and Jalen for getting these deals done. This is a monumental deal, and it's only going to get better for the kid from with the Chargers. He's up, and then I think Joe Burrow from the Bengals is up. I think the kid for the Chargers made the playoffs once or twice maybe already in his career. Joe Burrow made it to a Super Bowl. They both look at $300 million deals. If they sign Watson to that deal he got last year, I definitely see Joe Burrow getting $300 million, $200 million guaranteed. I mean, they really like Joe. They may guarantee all of it, like I said. But next QB I want to talk about is Aaron Rodgers. Been a fan of Aaron Rodgers for years. By the looks of it, he's following the footsteps of Brett Favre, and I was a big fan. Still is a big fan of Brett Favre. Brett Favre was a gunslinger. He loved the fact of competing. He felt like his arm was better than any defense you had, but he did the exact same thing as Brett, and I feel Green Bay won the trade. And most people are like, oh, well, they're losing their franchise player. I don't look at it that way. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, whether it was between the subliminal messages on his Twitter, social media, or him just having interviews, Aaron Rodgers is not going to play for Green Bay again. He held them hostage last year, and they was like, you know what, it's time to move on. We done seen this story already 15 years ago with Brett. So the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers got rid of that terrible contract they was in because they were strapped for cash, in my opinion, because I felt like you couldn't sign a big name because he was taking so much of the cap. Like I said, they got some picks for him. They got a conditional second-round pick, which turned out to be a first-round pick if he plays over 65% of the snaps. Aaron Rodgers didn't go to the Jets for a money grab. Aaron Rodgers also did not go there just to leave Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers feel like that's the best chance of him winning. Now, the flip side, I feel like the Packers won, but I feel him on the fact that they wasted his best years and he had to carry those teams with little to no receivers. He was like the NFC Tom Brady. Like, he had guys that nobody ever heard of, and he still was making it to the playoffs. I think he missed the playoffs, maybe twice, maybe 3 times total in his whole career, but I think it was only twice, if I'm not mistaken. But let's be clear, Aaron Rodgers won't gonna play that no more. They wasted his best years. I don't think he hit a true number one since Jordan Nelson. Like I said, the guys, Adams is the number one. But I didn't like the fact that they didn't give him anybody outside of Adams. If Adams get double teamed, who are you gonna go to? These guys, they were fast, but they didn't run great routes. They didn't get a lot of separation. Then they kept trying to bring back can't even think of the receiver now with the hazel eyes, Randall Cobb. They tried to bring him back, and I was like, he just don't run the same. It just wasn't there for me, but can Aaron Rodgers get a Super Bowl with the Jets? That's what everybody want to know. And my answer is he doesn't stand a chance. There ain't no way in God's green. I don't think he might make the playoffs. He's not winning a Super Bowl. This is why I don't think that it's. I think Aaron can still play, but Aaron only gonna play for about 2 more years. He ain't playing until he's 45 like Brett. I just don't see it. I don't think he has a love for the game like that. But he don't have enough weapons to beat out the entire AFC. First of all, he got to go through Buffalo. And Buffalo been cooking like grease for the last 3-4 seasons. He got to go through Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, and those guys. They got probably one of the best offenses outside the Chiefs. Next up, you got Patrick Mahomes, boy, the Chiefs, Travis Kelce. I don't see them beating the Chiefs either. Then you got Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, explosive offense. They're going to be hitting you in the mouth on the defense. Then you got the Chargers. Like I said, I like the Chargers in the AFC. But I don't even think the Jets are better than the Chargers, even with Aaron Rodgers. They can put all the pieces they thought they could put together, but the thing is the Jets ain't been doing well for a long time. I said last year, don't draft a kid from BYU. And what did they do? They drafted a kid from BYU. I said it from this seat right here. And the fact that they did it clearly tells me they suck at doing this thing called football. There's nothing about the kid from BYU that showed that he could play in the NFL at a high level. Same thing with Trey Lance. And nothing he showed me in college showed that he could play at a high level. I watch a whole lot of football when I evaluate quarterbacks and look at the way they play. I look at their decision making. I look at, can they keep their poise, and I look at, can they understand what they're looking at? Can they read the defense? Can they make good decisions? And also, are they accurate? Trey Lance didn't fit that, as well as the kid from BYU didn't either. So I just felt like the Jets ain't doing too good when evaluating talent, and they've been showing it. But moving on to the NBA. He said, I love the NFL, but let's talk about the NBA a little bit. These playoffs have gave me everything I wanted. Like I said, I watched the NBA a little bit less this season just because of the fact that, I've been coaching. I coached a little bit of girls basketball this year. I did a little bit of track as well. And been, doing some stuff with hopefully spring ball for the teams as well. And everybody know I'm a diehard Lakers fan. Like I said, I love my Lakers since Kobe Bean Bryant was there. I watched this Magic, but I became a real fan when Kobe got there. So that's nothing to do with LeBron. I'm really not a LeBron fan, but I pull for him because he's on my team. The day that he leaves, but like I said, I respect his game, but hey, I'm a Lakers fan first. So before LeBron, like I said, I've been a Laker fan, but I am a Steph Curry fan. There's only one player that I pulled for outside of Kobe Bean Bryant. That's Stephen Curry. I watched Stephen Curry when he was at Davidson, and I didn't know who he was until they made it to I think it was the Elite Eight when he was at Davidson. He came back his senior year to work on his handles and to be a point guard. I love that about him. And he's that silent assassin. He don't do a whole lot of jawing. He just plays the game tough. I'm pulling for my Lakers, though. If Golden State beats us, I will not be upset. But I'm pulling for my Lakers. I feel like we're going to stretch it out to Game 7. I feel if Anthony Davis dominates, we can take it in Game 7. Why I say Game 7? Even if Golden State beats us this next game, I feel that LeBron can get us one game by himself. He can give me 50 one time. Anthony Davis got to take us the rest of the way to get us out of this series. One game, like I said, LeBron can carry himself. But the reason why I don't need him to give me 50 points at night, he's 38 years old. I ain't got time to see that man fall out or cramp up out there. Like I said, I want us to win, lose, or draw. But I am enjoying the clash of this Titans because I feel like if Steph Curry finds a way to beat us and win another championship, he's going to be on a lot of more people's Mount Rushmore. He's already on mine, and I'm going to go to update mine probably this year and show you who's on mine. But the other matchup I've been enjoying is the Celtics versus Philadelphia. Tatum, he will have to earn it to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. He will, like I said, Jason Tatum, that Jaylen Brown, he got that grit about him this year. Like, he feel like he got something to prove. I love that about him. Everybody kind of crowned Jason Tatum like, oh, he's going to be the best in the East. I like his game, but I feel like he got something else to prove. I think he's going to have to win a title and probably maybe a Finals MVP before he can be listed as a number one player in the NBA. But like I said, if I had to pick coming out the East, the two teams that's going to battle for the East is the Heat and the Celtics. I think those guys are going to battle it out. I'm going to be conservative and hold out my Western prediction to see what happens with this Lakers and Celtics. No, not Lakers, Celtics. The Lakers and the Curry boys. I really feel like that's going to determine how the West is going to go because I feel like Golden State matches up very good against the Suns if they beat us. And I feel like the Suns will have a tough time matching up with us. I'm sorry, they won't match up well against us, but they match up well against Steph Curry and them. I feel like Anthony Davis, if he plays well, I think he'll be an animal, and that young man will have a hard time with the Suns defending him. But, like I said, I won't leave my West prediction. I want to leave it out there. And, we'll see in due time. But as for time, this is mine. I'm your host, Ricky Stanley, and I am out of here.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomino.